If you want, you feel more comfortable without the mask, then you can take it off. Shruti, your father is an architect. You have no interest in architecture?
Sir, I do like looking at buildings and understanding things, but as a profession,
no. But history also, I think there is a bit of architecture which goes into that.
Yes, sir.
So, tell me this: what is this central vista? The way it's being laid out and planned. What value do you think it will add to Delhi in terms of its architecture and town?
Yes, sir. So the Central Vista has been planned as a redesigning of the space around the parliamentary building and the secretariats. The main reason for the replanning is certain spatial problems that the area has in terms of a lack of space, and those buildings were made in a certain time period, sir, and a long time has passed since then, and due to those reasons that step is being taken. At the same time, there is also an attempt to redesign a place in a new architectural sort of layout, so that can also be a positive step, sir.
So this new architectural layout, what exactly does it kind of represent?
Sir, I'm not very aware about the details and the designing.
Okay, tell me one thing. This global gender gap, there is a report which is brought out by some agency. Which agency?
The World Economic Forum.
What is it? Is it an intergovernmental body? Is
it an international body? I'm not aware if it is intergovernmental body.
What do you mean by international?
I think it has international countries as well as other organizations as members that may not be necessarily state actors.
But are some governments also? Okay, so what is you are aware of their latest report and India's ranking in it?
So I don't remember the exact rank.
Okay. So, but it has come down by some 28 positions, isn't it? What does it show?
Since independence, I believe, sir, the position of women has continuously increased and has become better in certain ways, I do believe, sir. At the same time, certain gaps do exist in the economic, social, as well as educational realm and in political representation, which is shown through the gender gaps. And these differences between the position of men and women is something that we do need to work on. And the gender gap index is an indicator of the steps that we need to take forward in this direction.
How do you say that it is an indicator of the steps that we need to take? Can you just tell us how exactly is this arrived at? What is the basis of this index?
So in terms of the methodology used in the index, I'm not aware about the specific indicators, but I do think that the very index and the fact that we have gone down 28 steps is a point where we should come in and try to increase representation of women, say in the parliament from the current 14% to more. The gender gap index also in terms of income is around 27% according to the IMF in terms of wage gap between men and women. So these are certain areas where certain steps definitely can be taken. So the very idea that we have gone down 28 steps should be a clarion call for us to do this.
No, this is a good point which you are making. Of course, one can also wonder that how accurate is this index if in 1 year it falls, a country like India, which is a big country, falls 28 position. It shows certain weakness probably in the index itself. and we see very often that we don't agree with the way the indices are built. But are you aware broadly what are the four factors which they take into account? You actually mentioned a couple of them. It's about access to resources, and I think political empowerment is one. And economic, space in economic activities. There are. Okay, forget about what they do. If you have to measure, what else would you take into account?
So apart from economic indicators in wage gap, apart from political representation, I think educational status is
Good.
one that needs to be taken into account. Social position, although it's hard to quantify that in terms of an index and a numerical number, is certainly one thing that needs to be taken into account, and the presence of women in the public space, the visibility of women in the public space.
Now, isn't the political representation in some way capturing this?
Yes, sir. Sir, I do believe.
What about health?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you.
Health is
Health is a very, very important part.